Hello, this is Destiny. I am coming to you today from Zone 4B in Western Maine. This is the start of my permaculture home, and my new channel is called Imperfectly Permaculture. That's because I'm still learning and things won't be perfect. Let's get started with an early spring tour. The first thing I'm checking on today is the compost pile. So there's the back door of our house, and there's our compost pile. So we keep it close to the back door. We still bring things out in the winter time. The pile is frozen, so it's not actively composting, but we're still gathering our kitchen scraps and the bedding and hay waste from our rabbit cage. And the top of the pile is actually the warmest it's been since the start of winter. Obviously, it's not active, but the fact that it's thawing out makes me really excited. Next, we have our kitchen garden, which is still totally covered in snow, and snow is blocking the gateway, so we won't be able to go in there for a while. It's probably good, so we won't be compacting the soil when we can't clearly see the paths through. So we do keep the kitchen garden fenced. There's a lot of deer pressure here, and I just don't want them killing off my annuals, especially when I put so much time into starting them, some of them from seed. But we do leave most of the property unfenced, so we're still getting like turkeys and all sorts of wild critters coming through and adding their fertilizer to the ground. So this here is the inside of our cold frame / mini greenhouse. So you can see it's pretty much clear of snow in there now. It wasn't actually covered over the winter, so there was a fair bit of snow in there a few weeks ago. Almost time that we can start putting some of our cold hardy crops in there. Pretty excited about that. We haven't used it before. It was newly built last year before we had a chance to do anything with it, so it'll be nice to see how it helps us. Super excited about this. This is our baby lilac. We got it from a community plant sale last year, where it was just a little shoot sucker, but it's got some really great bud action going on, and I've always loved lilacs, and I'm looking forward in a few years to making lilac syrup for seltzer water. So again, view of our kitchen garden. This time of year it does get shading from the trees across the house road, but as we move further into spring and summer, it gets a lot more overhead light, which makes it great for our annual crops. So this is looking north-ish. Behind it is a bunch of mock orange, which I still need to prune more this year. They haven't been flowering as well as they could. They were clearly neglected for a long time, so I've done some little pruning here and there the last 2 years, but they really need more of a rehabbing. So this area here is kind of our ornamental flower garden, pollinator garden. There are a lot of perennials that were already here when we moved in 2 years ago, not quite 2 years ago, so we added to it. I'm excited to see parts of it are really thawing. Really looking forward to seeing some green. Feel like it's just been not necessarily a long winter in terms of your typical winters in Maine, but it's been a long winter. Just coming in closer here, that's some green left over from some lupins, and our moss phlox has some green on it still too. That's probably left over from last year, but really hoping they start photosynthesizing. These here are our elderberries that we put in last year. They're doing really well. Again, we've kind of are fencing our trees for the short term until they get established enough that some deer nibbling won't completely destroy them. And that's just, we don't have the money to overplant things heavily and see what happens. So, in the name of being frugal, we're not doing sheer total utter neglect. So I've been checking on our apples and pears with the thaw. So the snow here had gotten deeper than some of their trunk protectors, and I was a little nervous about some of the smaller animals that might have gotten through the fencing. But so far it does not appear that we had any chewing damage on the trunks. It seems that they've all survived the winter, so that's good news. We have 4 apples and 3 pears. Walking onion shoots! So I'm really excited about seeing the walking onion shoots there. Each of these apples and pears has walking onion buddies. I think it's just any little spot of green right now is making me feel really excited. So this is kind of the last tree that I need to check on. It's the smallest and its trunk protector is still below the snow. Pretty optimistic though that it's gonna be okay. So here we have some logs that we inoculated last year, and now that things are warming up, hopefully we'll get them stood up and they'll be fruiting this year. Over here is our raspberry patch. They were growing here when we came here almost 2 years ago. There's a lot of raspberries growing around Maine, so not a named variety, but they fruit pretty well. This here is our goldenrod patch. There's also some native clematis that grows in here and some other lower stuff. We should also have some native cherry and sumac shoots coming up in here as well. They got cut back last year, but I noticed some action still, so I think we'll have regrowth. I'm hoping to add some coneflower in too. The goldenrod is beautiful on its own, but I don't know. I love putting up more pollinator plants. Over here, really cool. We have some active fungal activity already. I think these are velvet foots. Active fungus, yay! So here is a cherry stool. I think it's black cherry. Could be one of the other native cherries. But we were cutting back some of the whips and collecting them. We want to try to do like sort of a decorative wattle fence on our like front of house flower beds just to make it prettier. Function is important, but aesthetics can be important too for just being able to enjoy your space. So we compassed a few stools out here and collected whips. There's our whips. They're tied up with pieces of invasive bittersweet vine. Since we have to hack it back, we decided it would probably make a good tie for our bundles until we're ready to use them. And last stop, I guess, for our tour today is what we call the Grove. It's an area that we're trying to get reforested. There's a nice little bench, wind chime, and a couple of blueberry bushes. Looks like there was some chewing damage on one of them, but I think it'll get through. So thanks for watching. If you can't tell, I'm not really a YouTuber type, but I'm really enthusiastic about growing things and being a friend to the earth. Kind of 3 ethics of permaculture are really important to me. I'm still learning how to apply them to my own life, but I'm getting there. I'm learning every day. I'm trying to do better every day, and I hope you'll visit again as things warm up and I have more green stuff to show you. Have a great day.